Hi everybody, Lori here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to be a part of the Splendor release blog hop with Simon Says Stamp, and I have a fun project to share with you. I'm going to be using some of the new Rainbow Splash stencils, kind of creating a pattern on pattern, and then a sentiment by my favorite, Kath Azilski. So let's jump right in. Okay, we are gonna blend it up. We are using some of the new Rainbow Splash stencils. This is the Flip Flop Shape stencil and the Candy Stripes, new in the Splendor release. And I have the sticky mat. It's like by Brutus Monroe for Simon Says Stamp. It holds down your panel and it holds down your stencil, and I'm using it. Okay, so I'm just gonna be focusing on the circle shape. There's lots of different ones you could do this concept with. You could do the heart, the Easter egg, the star, but I'm just doing a basic circle. So the basic open circle, I'm going to do it repeatedly throughout the panel using one of the new Rainbow Splash large blending brushes because I'm using a new color. This is the new Butter Pawsitively saturated ink, and whenever I have a new light color, I like to get a new brush. And luckily, I had some of these new Rainbow Splash brushes, but you really got to kind of season your brush a smidge. Otherwise, it's going to get real splotchy results. You kind of got to make sure that ink gets in, kind of saturates the brush and all that jazz. So I'm giving it a light wash of butter. I'm not doing anything gradient, not doing anything fancy, just a light wash of butter. And then I'm going to take off that open circle stencil, and then I'm going to lay on the half. So these are the flip-flop shapes. It gives you the shape, and then it gives you the halvesy. And then not only that, but I'm going to lay on the candy stripes. This is what you call stencil on stencil activity. Activity is the wrong word. I need something catchier, like stencil on stencil fun. Still not good enough, but we're going to work on that jingle. Okay, I pulled out the next shade darker than butter, which is Zest. And I love this Zest. You know what I mean? I'm using the same blender brush. So, I mean, in an ideal world, it would be nice to have a brush for every single ink color. That way you could really get the true color. But I don't live in a perfect world. I have too many inks and not enough brushes. I wouldn't have enough storage for all the brushes. So, hence, I just grab a yellow brush and I go to town. This one happens to be the new Rainbow Splash that I used on the butter circle. Okay, so there you have it. A tone on tone stripy circle, and I'm just going to do the same technique, repeat it all throughout the card base using rainbow colors. Okay, using some scrap paper. You could use Post-it tape, which I will do later. Whatever you like to do to mask off, you grab it and go. Okay, this time I'm doing Peachy, and I already had an orange brush. These are the Pawsitively saturated brushes. I do like the brush handles. You know, it's easy to quickly spot the orange one. So there you have the full open light wash. Gonna lay on the halvesy and then lay on the stripey, the candy stripe. And then I pulled out Grapefruit, which is the shade darker than Peachy, and go to town. So a little bit, not too heavy. And then when you lift off the stripes, I like to give it just a little bit extra. Just a little bit so it makes that half look darker. Okay, peel it up for the reveal. Love it. Okay, again, same idea, but this time we're bringing in the red. And I'm kind of going a little bit reverse rainbow. You know, I'm going to do the rainbow, but you never know the order. So here's Cheeky, but this brush had some darker red on it. That is not a true cheeky color, but sometimes you got to roll with the punches, and that's what I got. It's slightly darker than I wanted, but we're going to work with it. Okay, so I lay on the halvesy, and I'm just making this half side darker. Then I'm going to lay on the stripes, and I think I pulled out blush there. So I was working with blush and cheeky. Don't pay attention. Sometimes I get confused with what inks. By the way, I'll have everything, all the colors, all the supplies linked in my description box if you're watching this on YouTube. Okay, so there you have the blush and cheeky. Looks a little bit pretty poppin' red, but that's because my brush had pretty poppin' red ink left over on it. Now we're doing a pink one. This is Carnation. Nice bubblegum pink. I thought that would be a good overlay with that peachy. because you don't want to do a green overlay on an orange. You're going to get brown mud. I mean, unless you want brown mud, I'm not against it. But if you do overlap green with an orange, it's not going to be the prettiest color. And that's what I had in mind. I knew I needed something that would overlap well with orange. So that's why I went with the pinks. Now, peony here. If I had to pick a favorite color of all the Pawsitively saturated inks, it would be peony. Just so you know, it's not an important fact, but it is something I just felt like telling you. Okay, so, and then I have this one brush here. This is a Gina K blender brush that I have dedicated to peony. Some colors that you love so much get a dedicated brush, and that's just how it rolls. And then I give it a little once over to give this a two-tone look. Bada boom, bada bing. I love how that pink looks overlapping that peachy circle. It's all about the overlap at the end of the day. Okay, here we're going to bring in purple. Again, I was thinking what would look good if it overlapped with the pink. And I thought purple, pink and purple. Back when I was like little and people would ask me, what's your favorite color? I'd say pink and purple. I remember it clear as day saying pink and purple. And then when I got older now, I say green. But I do love chartreusey green. But if it's a green I'm going to wear, I love olive green. So it's a complex answer nowadays. Okay, what do we got here? Lilac and orchid. Doing the two-tone. I did pull out another new Rainbow Splash blender brush for the purples. I knew I wanted to get a nice light wash of that lilac. And here's my regular purple brush. It's got a lot of dark purple on it. And I knew if I dipped that into the lilac, I wasn't going to get a nice light. So I pulled out a new brush. I feel like I need to keep two sets of brushes. One for the very light inks and one that are going to use for dark inks. Because once you go dark, it can be hard to use that brush for a very light, unless you wash your brushes. Does anybody actually wash their brushes? I mean, I go off on scratch paper, but I can't say that I've ever actually taken the time to like wash my brushes. I mean, that's like washing brushes is like Copic marker maintenance. Those are down on the bottom of the barrel of what I'm going to do. Like, I don't like to do that kind of stuff, but it does feel nice when it's done. Okay, so I am on the last and final circle. I did the light wash of Marine, which was slightly darker because I'm using my dark blender brush. And then I did the Halvesy. Same, I used Marine, just a little more elbow grease. Got it darker, laying on the candy stripes. And then I pulled out Cadet, which is that next shade darker. And then I'm going to do those stripes. And this card, the background blending part will be finished. And I love how it turned out. It's very clean, graphic, a lot of white space, but a lot of pops of happy color. I love the two-tone circles and especially the overlapping. Like, look at that blue overlapping with that pink circle. Now, here's how I like to take off my panels off that sticky mat. I bend the sticky mat and then you can easily pull off your panel with minimal warping. Okay, and then I'm going to trim this down. I know sometimes it's a little painful, but a nice crop is what you need. Because I like to have that border around the edge of my card base. So cutting this down about a 1/2 inch. And then now for a sentiment, this is an older one. This is a Cheers word die by Kathy Zilski. I'm going to do the shadow backer out of vellum, the word die out of matte gold. Take it off camera. Run it through my die cutting machine. And then just for a little dimensione, I did 2 more out of white. Okay, so I'm going to glue these and stack them up. Because dimension is life. Little barely art glue. Little dots. You don't want too much. It'll ooze out the sides. And that will chap your khakis. So I just did 2 out of white. Top it off with that matte gold. And then I'll flip this over and put a little glue and glue it onto that vellum shadow backer. So this is going to be kind of a celebratory card. I guess it would be like a birthday card, but it could be like a promotion, could be a graduation, could be you're the best person I'm taking into McDonald's for lunch. Just like it's your day. So I want to do a little sub-sentiment, although this does look really good, just very clean and simple on the card, but I wanted to use the new CZ Birthday Basics, And there's so many great sentiments on here with great mixture of fonts. But I love this one on the side. It says, "Oh, happy day." And I thought that paired nicely with the cheers. So I'm just going to stamp this with VersaFine Onyx Black ink right onto that blended panel, and then pop up the cheers right above it. So I did put some thin foam tape on the back of this. I used that big Mama Roll by Simon Says Stamp. It's nice and thin. Some little slivers behind the word die just to give it a little dimension, and just nestle that right above the stamped sentiment. And then for a little embellishment, these are my favorite. The Rainbow Splash drops, I think they're called. You get like some are clear, some are milky, some are iridescent, and there's only 2 sizes, and I like 3 sizes. So I pulled out my little Concord 9th clear drops, and they have a teeny tiny little drop size, and I threw that in just so I could have the 3 different sizes. And this card is finished. It's bright. It's cheery. It says cheers. Oh, happy day. It could be cheers, oh, happy day. You're getting French fries. Make sure and check out the rest of the Splendor release with Simon Says Stamp. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.